Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to VALORANT News. Some major updates today on the future of the Challenger side, with the teams seemingly leaked that have been automatically allowed to join the Challenger scene. Mostly the pro teams for sure. Should this have happened? Should this not have happened? But which teams have missed the cut? Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Plenty to dive into today. Firstly, this from Android, player from the CSGO days, now into the VALORANT days, confirming that he's going to compete in VALORANT, but he's going to compete while pursuing a sports psychology degree at Ottawa University. This is something that's kind of been more common recently, where players in various esports will join, effectively get a bursary or whatever exactly they call it, some sort of grant by playing sports for the university. Whereas it's actually nowadays it's esports, right? We've seen this with some Call of Duty players who have gone to university and got their tuition paid for, or at least partially paid for, by playing it for their kind of team's esports, for their university's esports team. And we're seeing a similar thing here for Android. It's really cool stuff. Get a degree, play VALORANT at the same time. Hopefully it works out for the best for him. Quick note on Ascend, there's been some rumors as to what they're planning to do, just because of course they didn't make it into the Partnership League in EMEA, therefore they're looking to sign some certain players. Apparently Musashi has been signed, and Alive is going there, Monster as well as going to stay on the roster, one of the former players, and then Baddy G from Poland, and then Brody is going to join the roster as well. So pretty interesting team, but apparently that is what they are playing at going forwards. Quick note on Sentinels as well and the other tier 1 teams before we dive into tier 2, which is arguably to me right now way more interesting. So we saw the other day, Sassy has arrived at the Sentinels headquarters. He's made it from Brazil. I think he stopped off in Mexico, then to LA, and it's all now done and dusted. Sassy is there. Now the question was, when, if ever, is Pancada going to arrive? There was a clip that came out on stream, I would say maybe 3 weeks ago now, from Pancada, where he said, yes, it's in the works, the visa's in the works, but no guarantees it's going to get sorted. Now, of course, with the holidays and everything, and the fact that visas are always a tricky thing to accomplish, and the certain person that's dealing with the visa request might be slow, it might be fast, it's always a bit of a complication. But there was some concern here for Sentinels that by the time Pancada also arrived, they would be too far behind on practice compared to their rivals, let's say 100 Thieves, than they arguably should be. Not exactly sure on the artist situation for NRG, but it's now been confirmed, Pancada says, flying out to the US. So I'm guessing that means it's done and dusted. Pancada's got the visa sorted, and Sassy and Pancada will be out there very shortly at the venue. They'll be doing content, I'm sure, as well, but also they can start practicing in the new year. This is a big deal because I thought that if it was going to take another couple of weeks, if they were only starting their practice in mid-January, let's say, and they've only really got 3 weeks before they've got to fly out to Sao Paulo for the event of the kickoff. So having a 5-week, almost 6-week window is, I think, going to pay dividends for Sentinels in terms of getting up to the level that they need to be at to deliver a good result. 100 Thieves to me are still going to go into that event as the favourites from North America in terms of who should be the best NA team, and also you might just straight up win the event because the EMEA region is stacked with Na'Vi, with Liquid, with Fnatic, all these other teams, but also other teams have had their problems with practice, and it's not a guarantee. Certainly some of the North American teams, the likes of NRG as well, getting artists out there is still kind of unclear, but Sentinels obviously have a pretty good team sorting out these visas. It's not been quick, it's not been easy, but by the new year they should be able to start practicing as well. And just a quick note on Chet here, because apparently they've already been practicing and getting ready to go. They're getting cooking, as he describes, with some new comps. He says right here, great build for everything, what a great year that OpTic had in 2022, but of course didn't end particularly well for them in VALORANT by not qualifying for the Partnership League or not getting selected for the Partnership League. But as he says, we're going to be cooking with some cringe comps once again. So apparently already preparing some things. So I guess, they're trying to catch up 100 Thieves and Cloud9 to an extent in terms of practice as quickly as they possibly can. Don't even mention Evil Geniuses often. They could be decent EG, but I just kind of forget they exist a lot of the time, unfortunately. Now let's talk about tier 2. This is where things get really spicy. The first open qualifier. So our understanding is of the tier 2 challenger scene, 12 teams are going to be in the challenger scene. Basically what happened last season, right? But with the pro teams now in tier 1. So 12 teams in tier 2. Of those 12 teams, there's a couple of splits. At the end of the year, the 8 best teams out of those 12 get to go to the challenger playoffs, and then the top 2 teams at those playoffs qualify for the Ascension tournament, which happens between all the regions in the Americas to determine the final team that is going to qualify there for the tier 1 circuit next time around. That all starts on the 9th of January. So there's a 5-day event here over which 4 teams will qualify for tier 2, and then the next weekend there's going to be 2 further teams that will round out the 12 with 6 rosters automatically invited. Now the question has been, which of those 6 rosters will be automatically invited? Will there be any surprises? Will there be any team that is expected to get invited that won't be? Because what does this mean? Let's say a team like G2 aren't invited. They've got to rock up to this qualifier in a few days' time. Some of those teams might be under-practiced, and, online matches in these qualifiers, it's always an absolute gauntlet. There's always upsets. There's always surprises. So this is on the Battlefy website here. We can see this night's tournament. Of course, they're running it. And, if we zoom in, we find some very interesting features. So this is the overview. This is then the participants. So these are all the teams that have signed up so far, 184 of them. We can see here many notable names: Moon Raccoons, Oxygen Esports, Virtuoso, all the teams you might expect. However, there are some notable absentees. Now, if some of these teams that we're going to discuss in a second were signed up for this tournament, then obviously those teams haven't been automatically invited. If you're playing in this qualifier, then you haven't received one of the 6 automatic invitations. Now, those automatic invitations have not been confirmed as of recording this video, but nonetheless, we can figure out who they are by looking at the absentees from this qualifier. So if we scroll down, we see many notable teams, as I say, but the really notable teams, the likes of, the tier above, let's say Dark Zero, are the ones that have been invited, the M80s, the G2s, and the like. Now, there's a few notable ones I did want to mention here. Firstly, this never done on the left-hand side. We have seen in previous seasons that, I think Cloud9 White, for example, yes, they're a Game Changers team, but they have competed in these qualifiers as well, because it's not really the men's side, it's more just, open, anyone could compete. So this is the team, pretty much a super team here of Game Changers players: Alexis, Sarah, Mel, Noya, Chad, Chloe, and then Fluorescent, right? So kind of confirming some rumors that Fluorescent, formerly of Misfits, is going to be teaming up with some of the former Cloud9 White girls. Now, then again, a little bit surprising, just because I thought that maybe the idea was of splitting up that Cloud9 White roster was to maybe try their best to join, any team here in Tier 2, not just necessarily form another Game Changers team, but nonetheless excited to see how they get on, because that's going to be a scary squad to face, no doubt, in this side. So these are the other teams. Now, if I scroll down a very long way, we will, as you can see, if we're just scrolling through, you're not really seeing a FaZe clan here, you're not really seeing teams of that caliber. But if I scroll down, and finally on the left-hand side in a second, we should see a team called The Nation, which is Stewie2K's team, which is the other one I wanted to mention at Hot Dog Esports. I mean, these teams are just hilarious, to be honest, looking through some of these names. But eventually we shall find a team near the bottom, probably relatively recently signed up, called The Nation, and here it is: Rossi, Wardell, Tig, Brax, and Minika, who I believe is either standing in for Stewie2K or something's going on there, but this is Stewie2K's team, with Rossi, Tig, Brax, Wardell, and Stewie. We saw that the other day. That's the expectation, so that's the roster. I don't believe, anyone has noticed yet of these teams, whether Sinatra's team is here, whether there's a Shroud team here. If it had, I'm sure someone would have pointed it out to me, but if you guys want to look through every single one of these 184 teams to find out, then feel free to do that. And of course, people can sign up on accounts that aren't even in their own name, so it's always a bit tricky. We'll see fully in a few days' time. Now, the teams therefore excluded from this are the following. These are the 6 teams that haven't been noticed on that list, and therefore almost certainly are getting the automatic qualification spot: G2, Shopify Rebellion, M80 GG, FaZe Clan, The Guard, and TSM. These, I believe, are probably the 6 that I predicted the other way, and look, it makes sense. I don't know what your guys' thoughts on this are, whether you believe these teams should have to actually play, because for all we know, these teams can be terrible, right? TSM can be terrible, FaZe can be terrible, G2 can be terrible, pretty sure M80 are going to be good, and The Guard will be good, and Shopify Rebellion will be good, but who knows how good the other teams are. And maybe some of these teams, if they were to have to go through the gauntlet, wouldn't have actually qualified, right? It's not out of the question that these teams would have failed to qualify. So, should they be automatically invited? That is a question, because they might be taking up a spot of a team that actually might be better right now. But nonetheless, in my opinion, this is fine. I think that it's good that these organizations that have actually committed to Valorant and have invested good money in top players and have succeeded in the past in various ways should get their credit to actually get into the challenger circuits. So I think this is fair enough. Now, these teams, if you guys are unfamiliar with the full rosters, G2, of course, is Penny, Oxy, ShahZaM, Whippy, and dapr. The Guard is Tex, Yona P, Trent, Valid, and Net. TSM is Corey, GMD, Nature, Hazed, and Seven. Shopify Rebellion confirmed a long time ago now: Marder, Vic, Dazzle, Moose, and B-Dog. FaZe, I still don't believe we know their 5th player right now. Let me know if you guys know who it is. babybay, Poised, Superman, Dicey. Believe they're still looking for one. We're probably not looking for one. They've probably got their one, but I'm not exactly sure who it is right now. M80 is Nismo, John QT, EU, Xander, Koala Noob, and that's pretty much it for those 6 teams getting invited. So very much intrigued to your thoughts on that in the comment section below. I imagine over the coming days we're going to see these names get officially confirmed here in terms of which organizations got the automatic invitation, but everyone else on that list and beyond will be there at the qualifier trying to fight their way out for only 6 spots in the challenger circuit, of which only 8 of those 12 teams get to give it a go to qualify for Ascension at the end of the season. Quick note here from Som as well: everyone dodge Breeze, just so Riot knows they need to remove it ASAP, because yeah, clearly NRG Som wants that gone as as quickly as humanly as possible. We know that Bind, Breeze are gone, and that is one of the interesting things about these qualifiers. They are going to be played on the old, not necessarily the old patch update, but the old map set where Breeze and Bind are still played, and Split is presumably not quite ready yet to return to the map pool. Now, speaking of map pools, quick note here for Valorant leaks, because there is a new map arriving at some point. We got Pearl recently, we got Fracture not that long ago, to be honest. Now we're getting another map arriving. So apparently there's the premiere full launch, of course, the avoid list is coming, and then episode 6 act 1, the temple map. So this is the only information we have so far. Valorant leaks, Mike seems to believe that there's some sort of temple map in effect. Don't know what that's going to look like, whether it's going to be like Aztec or Ancient from CSGO. I'm sure the aesthetic will be different because it'd be too similar to Fracture, I guess, but at least parts of Fracture. But yeah, that's all the information we have so far. There is another map coming at some point, so I don't know what the map pool is going to look like, but Breeze is gone, Bind is gone. We've got Pearl in there, which I'm not a massive fan of, but it's okay. And then we're getting a new map, and Split is returning, right? So, you know, is Ascent going to go at some point? It's obviously going to be a pretty, well, fluid dynamic over the next season or so. But very much interested your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
Flashing hookah. Wait, they gave.
It's outside, side.
One more backside, one more backside.
Two side.
Oh my god.
Wait.